Hello. I hope someone shows up. If not, I'm gonna make my pasta. I haven't had lunch yet. But for anyone who's tuning in a little later, I'm gonna be answering some decluttering questions today. Hello. I see some people are coming on. You should have the possibility of the chat. So, Karine from Montreal. Hi, bonjour. Est-ce qu'il fait beau là-bas? I hope so. I've heard it's really cold. Thank you for getting into the chat. Oh, hi. Okay, we've got some more people. Ginny from India. Hello, Catherine. Hi from Tennessee. Cold but sunny. Amazing. Hi. Okay. Oh, USA supporting Canada. That's very kind. Thanks. Hi from California. Jessica. Hey, Sandy from Florida. Amazing. So great to see all of you here. Thank you so much. If you're just joining, I'm coming at you from Milan. I love seeing all of your hellos in the chat. Do let us know. Hi, Irene. Do let us know where you're joining from. I am going to be answering some of your decluttering questions today. I've got about 3 that were asked in the community tab, and they were really great. So I'm gonna get into it. I just have to say, first of all, thank you before we get into it. A huge thank you, Susan, Michaela, Deborah, Sonia. I love seeing where you're all joining from. Thank you for being here. I just can't believe it. Let's get into it. Decluttering. But if you have some questions around Italian style or sprezzatura or what life is like in Italy, pop them in the comments. I will try to get to them. But I feel like this time of year, it's March. We're all like trying to get into this new season, perhaps. But with decluttering, I think that it's nice to follow the seasons versus like the calendar year. I know a lot of people like to do it in January, which is also good, like top of the year, all that kind of stuff. But it comes more naturally and intuitively to me when we do it with the seasons a little bit. But let's get to the questions because I thought they were very good. And decluttering in general, again, needs to be done mindfully, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, but there is so much of like that addiction to decluttering that we can get as well, because it can also produce that overconsumption mindset, right? We declutter, we refill, we declutter, we refill. So doing it mindfully is so important. Let's get into the decluttering questions. And then I see that Catherine, you have a trip for October, Florence. Let me think on that. But I've got an answer for you. Let's talk about decluttering. Like I said, really great questions. Question from Robin M was, I wonder what your thoughts are on the number of clothes one person needs. I get this question a lot. Robin is asking about, is it okay if we keep some extra things, quote unquote, just because? She finds that the minimalist rules are very constrictive. And I guess those minimalists have like, a certain strict set of numbers. We often also see things like, I don't know, like, you should only buy 5 new pieces a season or something like that. And that's great. That it's whatever works for you, but me personally, I don't subscribe to the idea that a closet should have a set amount of items in it. It's so hard I don't think anyone should dictate to us how many pieces we should have. It totally depends on the context and our lifestyle. Like, Maybe you're a mom and your clothes keep getting dirty, so you need things in higher rotation. Maybe you're a nurse, or you're someone who works in a job that's really manual, so you need to have a bigger breadth of clothes. Maybe even like diplomats, people who are public facing, they might have perhaps less because they can rent items, they can have items loaned to them. So I really don't subscribe to the idea of having a certain number of clothes. Also, especially as women, our bodies change. So sometimes we put things aside, our bodies fluctuate, and we can come back to them later. So I hope that's helpful in answering the first part of that question of the number of things. Um, and I'm seeing a couple more people come on. First time seeing me live on air. That's very cool. I know it's really fun. I love doing this with you. Um, Best advice for fluctuating body for decluttering. Yeah, 100%. A couple of pounds makes a difference, Despina. This is a good follow-up question to this question, so I'm going to answer it now. Yeah, like even throughout the month, our weight fluctuates, right? So I think it's important to understand where you're at in terms of body fluctuation. If you know your weight goes up and down and you have sort of different levels of body weight that you work with, then if it's available to you, I would say have a good storage system in place. There's nothing wrong with storing your key items when you are at different points in your body weight. So that's if you know your fluctuation. If you're not sure, if you're in a period of transition and you don't know if your body's going to stay a certain weight, if it's going to return to what it was, that's a little bit trickier. But I would say don't do any decluttering yet. The things that don't fit you during this period, I would still remove them from your closet so that you are removing that visual clutter, but I wouldn't let go of them completely, particularly the pieces that you like. If there are pieces that you don't even like anymore, like period, no matter how you would fit in them, then I would say those definitely let go. But if you're still unsure, if you're still in that state of transition, storing is totally okay. The key is to just get it out of sight. And okay, for the total disclaimer, this is not my entire closet. These are just the pieces I have from that I brought with me to Italy, and I even had a couple pieces added. So just so you know, I have a lot more clothes back home in Canada. So Despina, I hope that helped answer your question. Storage is really key. And then in general, moving forward, just a few tips on if you are working with a fluctuating body. There are a lot more options now for trousers and skirts with a little bit of elastic at the back. I often find that workwear in these situations is really difficult because you still want that structure, but the softness of a nice stretchy piece doesn't not always the greatest. You don't feel like super pulled together with work. So definitely look for elastic features, but in hidden places. Sometimes it's on the side, sometimes it's at the back. Anna, do you find that the clothes in Milan are made of a higher quality? There's a mix, Anna. You have to look and be just as particular here as anywhere. Even in the markets, there are some stalls that are higher quality. So, even the made in Italy labels, even if I see a made in Italy label, I still like look at the garment, I turn it inside out, I look at the tag, all the things. I think um we can't put like that blanket statement. Are they cooler though? Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Um Oh, isn't that beautiful? Steamline. So, Vision of Iwe is saying one of your favorite out of season clothing storage options is your great grandmother's steamline trunk from Poland. So, that's actually a really interesting point if we're talking about decluttering and ways to store. If you don't have, say, another bedroom with another closet or a storage locker, for example, this is a really interesting concept, right? If we can take a piece of furniture that's already existing in our home and maybe we turn that into our storage if it's not already being used for something else. I think that's a really, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, let's continue with, I'm going to just check this question. So, yeah, no, I think I answered the whole like number of pieces. I had another really good one from Christina, who is a frequent commenter on the channel. So, hi, Christina. I don't know if you're here, but definitely going to answer this one. Christina says, I try to declutter responsibly, but get frustrated selling through apps and how much time it takes. 100%. I would donate, but hear how much ends up in landfill. Even though I buy a relatively small amount and I wear them carefully, these things have a lifespan. I totally agree. Honestly, the finding a second home for our clothes that are totally resellable, that can be tricky no matter where you are. I find if you're in a city that has a number of consignment boutiques, consignment is my absolute favorite, and that's what I do most frequently. So, finding a local boutique near you, perhaps it's online, perhaps it's a physical space. I find the physical consignment boutiques near us are the best because you get to know the owner, you get to know their taste, and different every consignment boutique, every secondhand store, they're becoming more popular. They each have their own vibe, right? Like the owner is the curator. So if you find your style aligns with a particular consignment boutique near you, then I often send my items to a place like that where our style is aligned. So, 8 times out of 10, they're going to accept my clothes. So that's one of my favorite ways. Selling through apps is really time consuming, even though they make it so easy for you. I also find that looking for targeted or specific charities, so not like the local Value Village or donation center, but finding perhaps a Dress for Success for tailored separates and workwear, or finding a specific women's shelter, calling, finding out what they need. That's a really good one too. Hi, Christina, you are here. Excellent. Yeah, I know no Vinted in Canada, which is frustrating. But even something like organizing a swap with friends or in your local community is really good too. So hopefully those help, Christina, because that is a tough one. I think we all struggle with it. In my community, actually, we have a little swap group. So if if you've got friends who you like to shop with, maybe just swap instead, that kind of thing. I think we got a great question from Christy. You've just retired. Congratulations. And you're needing different pieces. You look forward to some advice. Okay, for retiring. So before letting go of all of your pieces that you wore in your job, I would say maybe hang on to those yet. Like give yourself a 6 month to a year transition period, just because I don't know your situation, but um there's always this weird period of transition between any two phases of life, and we haven't quite found our footing. And you never know, you might have some pieces from your work life that you want to integrate into your new post or like retirement life. So if you don't have a plan of what you want your retired life to look like yet, I would hang on to them. Give yourself a year, shop your closet, do all the things we talk about on the channel all the time, and just give yourself a bit of breathing room before decluttering and adding. I hope that helps. And oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to take a moment in the chat. Some of you are already talking about trying swaps in your area. This is just the coolest. This is why I love lives like this, because the magic really happens. It's all you guys. It's all in the comments. And again, if you do like this kind of idea, this community, this is very much like our live shop your closets. The chat is always fire. People give each other ideas. Our next one is on April 5th. I'm going to leave that below. The topic is going to be decluttering, but we'll have guests. It'll be a lot more. Okay, it'll be a lot better because I'll have guests and we'll be going back and forth. But anyway, so glad to see this in the chat. I'm going to go back, Michelle, decluttering jewelry. This is interesting. Okay, to be honest, jewelry, I think jewelry is harder because it's so emotional, right? I find we have such an emotional attachment to jewelry and it's small. So I would go, I would definitely, if you have jewelry that still has tags on or like new in boxes, I would just start by decluttering that and then stay like maintain that and see how you do with the jewelry that you have. The biggest thing with jewelry also is like we can't see it, right? It's so small. We often have it like in a box that we have to open and then do this. If you can get one of those like get like a little canvas board or something that you can just pop all your earrings in, hang all your necklaces. I know it'll be time consuming at the beginning, but anything where you have a little bit of friction to find your jewelry, it's game over. Like it's so small, it's tangled. Oh my God, no thank you. Like I'm the same, right? We really need jewelry is one of those extra important times where we really need to look at see what's going on. We have a couple more people coming in. Carmen from Toronto. This is great. So good. Thank you so much for joining, everybody, for those who are just coming in. Okay, I got another really great question from For Eburauka. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. How do you know when it's time to declutter? Is it a one-time thing, a huge decluttering session, or a constant process? Do you really have to declutter when you're on a trip, quote unquote? And where do decluttered items go? So I'm going to start with the beginning of that question. This is a great question. How do you know when it's time to declutter? I do it regularly. I'm always editing. I'll every now and then do a larger declutter, but it's very rare. So as often as possible, and I don't know if any of you feel this way about shopping, decluttering, but I try and manage everything in my life intuitively. So the only reason I'm able to do that though with my closet is because I spend a lot of time in it. So for example, the continuous editing and decluttering is only effective if you are, say, for example, shopping your closet often, if you are planning your outfits, because then it's like, right? You know what you keep passing over and you know why. So it's a continuous process, in my opinion. Yes, and it's easier to declutter in small amounts. That's exactly it, Christina. Otherwise, I find if we do it once a year, like a big giant purge, we can fall into it's too overwhelming, so we don't do it. It's just a giant stress mess. And through that process, we can get rid of a lot of things that just because we put so much pressure on ourselves, we wouldn't have gotten rid of originally. Like we're not really in a space of creativity and intentionality and just being open-minded. Often when we do these giant declutters, it's like there's pressure to have like a giant bag of things that we're getting rid of. So doing it constantly, I find, is more intuitive, more intentional. The only time when, for me personally, I think like, okay, Alyssa, it's time to like either take a really big pause in shopping, which I don't shop that much, like, and that often anyway, but I know there's like a reset moment when if I'm standing in front of my closet, a few times a week or several times a month, and I feel like I have nothing to wear, then to me, it's like, I have too many clothes. This is like, I need to stop. And it doesn't mean I go ahead and declutter things. It just means like, okay, like let's take a pause, not shop, and just shop our closets exclusively. I find that's when I think, okay, maybe now I'll go through pieces a little bit more aggressively, but it rarely happens. On the fence about an item, it goes in your holding zone. Yes. So this is a concept that I talk about really often. And it's probably the strategy I use the most. When I do declutter something, like if I'm looking and I'm going through and I'm like, okay, this is like the fifth or sixth time that I've passed over this piece. That's when I start to think, okay, I'm going to put this item in I have a little like maybe basket. I put it in my maybe pile and I leave it there like as long as you want, right? It's everything is up to you. I usually say like a whole season. And if I haven't worn that piece by like the end of the next season, that I think, okay, I can totally let go of this for good. And the reason why I like this strategy is because you've got a whole bunch of data saying, like, no, I was able to survive and make cool outfits without this piece. I could live without this piece. So it's a lot more intentional. Um, I see a couple of you. So hopefully, yeah. So I love that idea. I do it myself. It's great. And also, yes, one more step. If I'm going through my maybe pile and I'm still second guessing a piece, I wear it for the entire day. I style it. It's not even like trying things on so much and trying to be creative with styling it. I just wear it for an entire day and I see how I feel in it. Because that's kind of the tell, like if you're excited in it, then that's kind of like the final decision point. When do I know that I need to shop, Camille? Hi, Mickey. Oh, sorry, interrupted. When do I know that it's time to shop? Concerned that you're missing key pieces for your wardrobe to work in this new life season. Again, that's kind of this intuitive. That's an intuitive moment, and again, it comes from that repetition. So I would give yourself a month again, just to shop your closet. And if it's like the fourth or fifth time that you've put an outfit together and you've thought, shoot, like this would look so much better, or I would feel more comfortable in this, or I would get more use out of these items if. And if there is one item that keeps coming up, that would get you more use out of all of the clothes that are in your closet, to me, that's when you put it on your shopping list first. And it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy the item right away, but it's on your list. So okay, this is a true gap. Thoughts on decluttering by color? Mickey, what a great question. I've never done it. I think if you I think if you have a really good idea of your color palette and the colors that you absolutely love, and this has been a through line for you for your whole life, then I think, if it's a certain color that just you don't feel good in it and you don't love it, then I would still go through the regular process, like go through each of these pieces, try them on, put them in the maybe pile, set them aside, see how life goes, how styling goes without them. And then before any final declutter, try them on. So it's an interesting comment. And Mickey, can you maybe just expand on the context around it? I'm really curious about this one. Ulrich also, hi Ulrich, is also asking about color. So this is a good one. Um, okay, Despina, yeah, the white long sleeve tee. That sounds like a pretty solid staple, but again, like let yourself miss that piece a little bit first, right? So it's a true gap. Am I a one in, one out person? It depends, Carmen. I think this is an excellent strategy. This is such a good question. It's such an excellent strategy. When I have that moment where I'm like, Alyssa, you have too many clothes. Like you have way too stop this. But I don't love putting a shopping ban or anything like that. That's when I'll do the one in, one out. And before I buy something, I have to have a designated like out purchase. So I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, sorry. I bought something. Oh yes, okay. So I bought this. This is a great example. I bought this at a vintage store. here in Milan, and I knew exactly which shirt I was going to declutter. I have a really old fast fashion, which I bought secondhand. It's a striped shirt, but the stripes are really small, so I can't wear it on camera. So I bought this, and like I knew going into it because I mean I think I have a lot of clothes. I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing like moving and packing to tell you that like you have too many things, you know? Mickey, okay, here we are talking about colors. Okay, Kemi, I'm glad that helped. A tote in the bottom of the yes. Yeah, I love that. So a lot of us use this maybe item or this holding zone. Um, color analysis might be a good idea. Shifting colors as your hair is getting lighter. Yeah, so Mickey, that's okay. So that's a great idea. Um, yeah, if it's a change that you can see yourself keeping, like if you don't ever plan on dyeing your hair, then I would say let go of the colors that aren't working with this new hair color for sure. Um, how do I declutter lounge or nightwear? Ooh, well, Priyanka, I think I would just challenge that and ask why are you decluttering in the first place? Do you have too many pieces that you're just not wearing? Uh, because if you're wearing all of your loungewear and you love it and it's comfy and you feel good in it, then I would say maybe there's no reason to declutter it. This is a good question in general that Priyanka brings up. If you have a section of your closet that you feel like you have too much of and you feel like you need to declutter, but you love the items and you wear them all the time, then consider creating little capsules from that section of your wardrobe and storing the pieces that you don't use. And then create a little capsule with the loungewear that you're really into, like have a little theme, do it monthly, and then go through and then, go back, look at your whole collection of loungewear and create another little capsule. This way, you're getting use of all your loungewear, you're still using it, you're still loving it, and maybe the declutter isn't necessary. Formal wear. Okay, this is great, Amy. This is the exact same answer as loungewear. I don't declutter my formal wear. Like it's very rare, especially if your weight doesn't fluctuate. I find formal wear it's like one of those things where if you're in a pinch, like we've got somewhere fancy to be, and then if you've decluttered all your things, it's like, well, I'm stuck now. And you have to go out and buy some other piece of formal wear that you're only going to wear once every few years or every few months. So I would hesitate decluttering formal wear unless there's something that just no longer fits, that cannot be altered, or unless it's just something that you really don't like, you know? So I would, formal wear is a category that I hesitate decluttering often. Karim, thoughts about buying the same multiple items? I know. Okay. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Um, buying multiples. I think it depends. I have no problem with buying multiples. I think you have to ask yourself, um, why are you buying the multiple out of like fear? Like, oh my gosh, it's gonna get discontinued, so I need to buy all the things. Kevin, you're asking like if it's gonna be ruined one day. I think if it's something like a basic, like a white shirt, chances are you're gonna be able to find another one. If if you have trouble finding, like if you're very particular or if sizing is an issue, then I would say get a multiple if it'll give you peace of mind and if it'll allow you to, continue making outfits without having to scramble and go buy one last minute because you decluttered one. You know what I mean? Or because one got dirty or one got you and you can't mend it. Um, so that's where I would say multiples are okay and fine. But the biggest thing with multiples is the best way, in my opinion, to approach this, like Ken, you're saying the white shirt as an example, instead of buying the exact carbon copy of the white shirt, I would say, what are other elements that you enjoy? And can you find another white shirt that's similar, but that has a little bit of something different, another element. Maybe the silhouette is slightly different, maybe the fabric composition is different. This way, when you're wearing these multiples, they still feel different and they still inject a little bit of variation in your closet so that you're not feeling like that visual clutter again. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll do one more. I'm glad you're all good. This is so great. Yeah, we're gonna do one more question from you here in the chat, and then I'm gonna ask also one more, or I'm gonna answer one more also from the questions that we got ahead of time. Um, Katrin is talking about the roaming suitcase. I love this. That is very cool. Let's start with hi, Marguerite. So good to see you. I'm going to take one of the questions that we got first originally, and then I'm going to look in the comments. Um, let's see. Right. Someone else was asking, how can we have less things if we live in a climate where it is ever changing, where the climate is ever changing? And to that, I would say we don't have, I mean, there's no one telling you that you have to have less items. Your closet has to work for you, right? So this is one of those situations where, like, I would never dictate to someone that they should only have a certain amount of items in their closet. In Canada, we have 4 seasons, although usually it feels like we have like 12. So you have to have different clothes for different climates. That's just the way it is. I think the key is to not be doing it mindlessly, as I mentioned before. Like, it's really about that intentionality behind each of those pieces. Yeah, sometimes we have 4 seasons in one day, like 100%, So you can't, I don't think we can be too hard on ourselves um, for having quote unquote too many pieces. Like, I don't think there is such a thing if all of your items are being worn, right? Um, let's see. Okay, I'm glad you liked the formal person. Yeah, hang on. Anastasia, you're saying, isn't it interesting that a person may look gorgeous and confident in an old pair of jeans and a simple tee, but to feel confident and gorgeous, one must at least try on something expensive? I don't know. I don't know. I've tried on really cool things that haven't been expensive at all, and I felt great in them. Ooh, okay. We got a really good question from Ginny. And this is, I think this will be my last decluttering question. And then I got a really great question about Ulrich, about my style and the different mindsets between Canada and Italy. So I'm going to answer those two because I just like doing this with you. It's so fun. Um, okay, the I might need it later mindset. This is where self-trust comes in. And what I like to do is I play it out. I play out that scenario. So the I might need it later, play out that whole scenario. What is the scenario when you might need it later? Okay, so let's say it's I have this sundress. I might need it when I get invited to some ex-pro soccer player's yacht and we're going to go for a nice lunch. Worst case, okay? So then you play out the worst case scenario, okay? You get invited and you don't own this sundress. Like, it's gone, you decluttered it. Then it's like, okay, I start immediately thinking, well, what do I have in my closet that could be just as fun? Do I have separates? Do I just wear my button-up shirt, my little button-ups, and I super accessorize it with a great pair of shoes or whatever? Jewelry, a great red lip, and the good hair, like, the end. And I think, okay, if I showed up on some guy's yacht with like my classic button up, a great pair of sandals, and good hair and good accessories, I'd probably be okay with that. So I think, if we have to get to that point by the end of the story of like, okay, I'm just showing up in what I have, Usually, though, before we even get to that point, when it's like we ask ourselves, okay, if I don't have this sundress or this thing for this occasion, what do I have? I almost 9 times out of 10 end up thinking of like something, right, in my closet. So, yes, 100% self-trust and emotional connection is definitely going to be a whole video. And also, if you're in my community, Mickey, we're going to talk about, well, you are in the community. So we're going to be getting into that like as the month goes on. So decluttering is our theme of the month in the what I call the studio community, where it's like a very close, tight knit group where we all support each other, and it's great. And we have these monthly challenges. So yes, self trust. We have a whole week on this, Mickey, so it's great. I'm so glad you're like always one step ahead. I love it. Okay, someone else asked me if my style was changing from Canada to Milan. Yes, 100% it is. Not necessarily in the pieces that I like. The elements that I like are all still the same, but I find myself getting dressed, quote unquote, more. Um, so I don't feel so out of place, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. If I'm wearing a cool heeled shoe, or I won't be afraid. Um, I dress down. I dress myself down a lot less, if that makes any sense. Like in Canada, I find myself being like, I'll wear the same outfit, but I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna put my sneaker on, or I'm gonna put on my clunky boot because the weather, or I'm gonna put like this oversized sweater to just make this feel more chill. Whereas here in Milan, it's like there's no chill. You can, you can wear anything, and it's a really cool thing because you don't get judged. So I just dress more elevated. And yes, Christina and Despina, your style is absolutely informed by where you live. Humala, my shop your closet series. I'm gonna bring it back 100%. Yeah, 100%. We're gonna get back into the regular shop your closet series because I miss them too. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We had the question. I think we got all of the questions that were asked beforehand, which is great, and I was able to hopefully answer some of your questions in the chat. Like I said, if you like this format, oh, Nanette, I'm so glad you like the shop your closet. If you like this format with the live and the chats and the really like amazing information that you're all sharing in the chat, then definitely give the shop your closet event a try. It's so much fun, and it's a lot like this, but we've got guests, so we're chatting about their style and we're shopping their closet too. And I love to see you all in the chat. It's really great. Inflection, oh my god, you're here. I don't know your name, but your comments are always appreciated. Everybody, Blanca, Anna, Priyanka, Nadia, Ginny, Lydia, hey, it's just Dawn, Aaron, everyone. I wish I could say all your names because I'm just so grateful that you're here. Honestly, it's just I'm so grateful that you are enthusiastic about slow fashion and being more mindful. So we've got shop your closet videos coming up. We've got the live shop your closet. So many, and we've got the channel. We've always got the channel. Asia EU time zone. So it's actually at 7 p.m. in the EU time zone. So I'm not adjusting the time yet. For Asia and Australia, I know we've got a couple people who watch the recording. But I don't have the volume or the mass of ticket sales to support two events in two separate time zones yet. So hopefully I will at some point. But yeah, that's it. Oui, Christiane, les billets sont déjà à vendre sur mon site web. Fait que ça va être dans la description ici dessous. Hopefully that answers your question, Christiane. J'ai hâte de te voir. And oh my gosh, you'll be in Milan. How exciting! I'm going to be in Italy for another few months. So that's it. Okay? Oh, love, love to all of you. I'm so, so glad. I know, I know. I'm gonna miss doing the trends video. Thank you, everyone. Let's do this again. Yes, I speak French. We probably it's been a while, but thank you, everyone. So so good to see you. We'll definitely do this again. Stay tuned for the next. Merci, merci Karine, merci à vous. Thank you, everyone. Ciao, grazie mille a tutti. Bye, bye, everyone. Thank you, thank you. So fun to see you all. Truly loved this. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Bye. Ciao, ciao. Ciao.